We're going through exercise 13D. This is question 4b. So let's give this a go. We need to solve for x, and we're actually going to be using our knowledge of quadratics and factorizing to do this. So I'm going to start by writing out what I have. Now instead of writing 2x like this, I'm going to bring this 2 to the outside. So now it's 2x squared. Then I'm going to go minus 10 2x plus 2 equals 0. Now what I want you to notice is that we have this 2x which is being squared here, then we have 2x, and then we have no 2x here, we just have that constant. You should recognize this as being in the quadratic form, and therefore we can say let 2 to the x equal any pronumeral. I'm just going to say a. So I'm letting 2x equal a. I therefore am now going to rewrite this as 8a squared minus 10a plus 2 equals 0. I then obviously have a common factor of 2 here, which I can take out, which is going to leave me with 4a squared minus 5a plus 1 equals 0. So I just divided both sides by 2 there. Next comes the actual factorizing, and this is where I imagine that some of you might have difficulty because it's been quite some time since we did this. Remember that if we have a coefficient in front of our squared value here, it's going to be a bit different. We're going to take this number, this coefficient, 4, and times it with the last one here, and that's going to give us 4. So we're going to have to find two numbers that when we times them together, it gives us 4, and also and the same numbers that when we plus together gives us -5, so this middle term right here. Obviously, the answer to this question is going to be -4 and -1. -4 times -1 is 4, and -4 plus -1 is going to be -5. Then I can rewrite this as breaking up this -5a term. So what I would say is -4a squared minus 4a minus a plus 1 equals 0. So as you can see, I broke up this -5 into -4 and -1. -4a minus a is -5a. But now that I've broken that up, I can factorize each of these sections. So this section right here is going to be represented as 4a can be taken out, which is going to leave me with a minus 1. And then I'm going to factorize this part right here. I'm going to take out -1 and be left with a minus 1. And if you've done this correctly, these should be the same. So a minus 1, they're the same. I can do my very last factorization, in which I'm going to take out this, and I'm going to be left with that equals 0. So this is where you want to end up with. And I've gone through this very slowly. Hopefully you're able to do this a bit faster, but I've just gone through the slow way, really breaking up what we're doing so you understand the factorizing process. And this is really just a refresher. Now that we're here, remember the aim of the game is to solve for this x. And in order to do that, we're going to have to first solve for this a. So I'm going to set both of these equal to 0. So that means I'm going to end up with a equals 1 over 4. And also a equals 1. So I just set both of these equal to 0 to find out what my a's are going to be. So a is going to equal 1 over 4, and a is also going to equal 1. Now that I'm here, let's remember that a is the same as 2 to the x. So I'm going to say 2 to the x equals 1 over 4, and 2 to the x equals 1. Now, in order for this to be true, what I'm going to have to say is I'm going to bring this up, make my bases the same. So that is what it's going to look like. So therefore x is going to be equal to -2. And then over here, in order for this to be true, well, 2x is going to have to equal 2 to the 0. So therefore x is going to have to equal to 0. So your final answers are going to be x is equal to -2 and x is equal to 0. So hopefully that's made sense and has been a thorough explanation of what's going on.